Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back to the next edition of
Monday
Night
Live.
Yes, we're so glad you could join us. Even if you're on the replay, we still are so glad you can join us. We're going to be talking tonight about how to improve gut symptoms, bowel symptoms, gastrointestinal symptoms. Having a gut complaint from your esophagus all the way down to your other ends is probably one of the most common causes that people go see their primary care doctor or their nurse practitioner or their PA or their midwife. And so we wanted to kind of go into some detail about gut symptoms and what we have found, both from personal experience and from hundreds of patients in the clinic and thousands of people online who have said, hey, I used to have this gut symptom. I changed the following thing, and now I don't have it anymore, or it's 90% better. And so that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. What do you think? First of all, though, first things first, where are you watching from? What city, what state, what country, what time zone, what continent, and even for a few of you, what planet are you watching from this evening? We love you all. We don't care where you're at. We just want to know. We love seeing that in the comments.
Also, we love seeing everybody posting up their Proper Human Diet Virtual Summit t-shirts. They look really good on you guys. Make sure to take a picture, tag us on Instagram, tag us on Facebook. We love seeing those pictures, and most of you have really positive things to say about them, which is great because, you know, Dr. Berry doesn't care about t-shirts, but I think that the feel is important. And all
she
that
said they're
stuff.
very soft and very creamy, whatever that means. Buttery, yeah. Buttery t-shirt. I don't know what that means. But definitely if you post the picture on Twitter, tag me, because that will really piss off my haters. Yeah.
We have the deadline to buy your ticket. The last day is September 1st. So make sure if you haven't done that, you do it before September 1st. PhDvirtualSummit.com, $37 gets you access to all the live stuff. And then for a year after that, you can watch it as many times as you want to. You can have share that link with your mama, your daddy, your grandma, your grandpa, whoever, and they can watch it after it's over and all that good stuff.
Yeah, there's only a few tickets left. And if it sells out, we'll purchase another block of tickets, which is very expensive for us, but I am happy to do that. I want as many people to understand the basic concepts of the proper human diet as possible. Now, for you old timers who have been with us for a while, and that doesn't mean you're old, that just means you've been with us for a while, right? If you have used a diet like low carb, keto, ketovore, carnivore to reverse a gut condition from reflux all the way down to the other ends, put it in the comments, because I suspect we're going to have a lot of new people watching tonight. And it helps so much to see other people who are just, you know, people like them who said, no, this really works for me.
Before we get into it, I want to make sure everybody knows the t-shirt comes with your ticket, and they're being shipped day by day by day. So just because someone already got theirs doesn't mean yours isn't on its way. So just be patient. It's coming.
So you mean if they buy a $37 ticket, they get a free t-shirt too?
And a good t-shirt, yeah.
A buttery t-shirt.
Buttery t-shirt.
Okay.
And you'll get your ticket link about a week to 3 days before the summit starts. So don't worry if you haven't got your ticket yet. You're not supposed to get it yet.
Yep.
It will be coming, and that's just to keep you from deleting it and having to search and email and all that stuff.
That's called the Dr. Berry rule, because I lose stuff in my email all the time.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why we're not sending it early.
Okay. So we're going to start with foods or body?
However you want to do it. We can go anatomically or we can go by foods.
I think we'll be able to keep up with what we've already talked about if we do anatomically.
Let's go.
You know?
Okay. Well, and which end do you want to start at?
Well, let's start at the top.
Okay. We'll start at the top. So the very first thing that I've seen, and if you don't know us, if this is the first time you've ever caught this live, welcome. I'm Dr. Berry, and this is my wife, Nisha, who's a registered nurse. And we've been doing healthcare for over a decade, both of us, almost 2 decades. I've been 20 years, and you've been how many years?
15.
Almost 15 years.
15
and so we've been doing healthcare from kind of the classical end for a long time. But then we started getting metabolically sick. And so we said, well, gosh, we got to fix that. We can't be fat, you know, sick nurses and doctors. And so we used diet to basically reverse every serious or not just annoying medical problem that we had. And so we're happy to help you do that too. And like I said earlier, if you've used one of these diets, please put your story in the comments, because a lot of times newcomers think, oh, he's just trying to sell a ticket. Just like
Just
that.
like that.
Just like that. And if you say, no, actually, I've used this to reverse my whatever, that really helps people a lot. Also, feel free to make friends in the comment. If you see an obvious newcomer question, reach out and answer them.
Be kind about it.
Yeah, always be kind, always be loving. But this is a huge community, a huge family, and I want you guys to treat each other as such. So we're going to start at the mouth first.
Okay.
Well, let's even further up. Let's start at the lips.
Okay.
Back when I was eating just the standard American high carbohydrate processed crap, I used to get about 6 fever blisters a year.
You did?
You've never, yeah.
I've never seen
When
you.
I was a kid, I got fever blisters all the time, and I used to play the trombone in junior high and middle school, and I was good too. I was first chair the whole time. But
So humble.
I thought you were going to say you were so proud.
I am so proud.
Uh-huh. And so I haven't had a fever blister in over 15 years. And I attribute that to stopping all the processed crap quite a while ago. And even though I've only been keto for 6-7 years, we calculated, even before that I was paleo for many years. And I think getting just the processed crap out of my diet helped that just go away. And I don't ever have it anymore. Have you ever had a fever blister?
No, I've never had those.
It's a pain in the butt.
I used to get canker sores.
It gets tickly and pretty, you can feel it coming.
Yeah.
And then that's the second thing I was going to talk about is I used to have the worst, humongous, we call them canker sores here in the South, aphthous ulcers in your mouth. And some people call them Y bumps. I used to have them all the time, even well into adulthood. But with keto, mine went completely away.
I haven't had one.
I haven't had one in years. Yeah, I haven't had one in years. And so there's several other things. And then the next thing is your teeth. People obviously get it that sugar and Cokes, that will give you cavities. But what people don't understand is that wheat, any grain, if you're eating grains, the starch in the grains, you have an enzyme called amylase in your mouth. And while you're chewing up your bread or your oatmeal or your rice, before you've even swallowed it, the amylase is already breaking down the starch into sugar. And so before the introduction of grains in the human diet, you can find skeletons of people who were in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and they don't have a single cavity. And so eliminating candy, and my dentist always told me that it was hard candy because it would stick to your teeth. That's
somehow special?
It was like if you were chewing it, it got like a Jolly Rancher.
Yeah,
that was somehow magically dangerous for causing cavities. But the truth of the matter is any sugar, whether added sugar or natural sugar, is going to increase your risk of developing a cavity, especially kids. And then also any grain, whether it's, the cheapest white bread you can find or whether it's very expensive whole grain bread, increases your risk of cavities. If you got all the sugar added and natural out of a kid's diet and all the grains out of their diet, there would just be no such thing as childhood cavities. They just wouldn't exist. Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah. So where's the next step along the route?
What about phlegm? Because that's like the back of the throat.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Because that's something that both of us have kind of had issues with over the years.
I used to have exquisite, copious amounts. And I used to have lots of allergies too, which can also mess with your gastrointestinal system. Had to clear my throat constantly. Kind of like that all the time. So before I would make every YouTube video in the beginning, I had to do that. Now I've got it. But so 80% improvement with the phlegm when I was keto. And the things that I specifically got rid of was any skim dairy or low-fat dairy and any of the grains. And when I got rid of those things, my phlegm issue got so much better. And now as a carnivore, obviously I have none of that stuff. And so I just don't have phlegm issues anymore. And it's kind of cool. And so you had a little phlegm issue too?
Yeah, and it was never as bad as yours.
Mine was bad.
But that's because I didn't eat dairy as much as you did. Like you drank gallons and gallons of milk. I've always hated milk. And when I was little, I didn't even like cheese. I've only recently become a cheese person. So I think that's why it never was as bad as yours. But then I started keto. I started eating more dairy and it started being an issue. Yep.
And it's dairy. That's the biggest part for me. Probably some other things as well, but it was mainly dairy. Oh, thank you very much for the stars. on Facebook. And thank you for super chats on YouTube. We really appreciate that. That helps us have more time and more resources to do what we're doing for you right now. So now if you see a good question pop up, we'll pause and take a question.
Okay.
Now, going down the gullet, now we get to our esophagus. So heartburn, reflux, GERD. Anybody suffer from that? How many of you guys have used keto or carnivore to completely get rid of your heartburn, your reflux, your GERD? Put it in the comments. I want to see it. Before I started keto, have you ever had much heartburn?
Only when I was doing that wild child thing and was drinking a lot of alcohol, when I went and partied and stuff like that. But on the normal, except for when I had Becca and I was pregnant, then I had some acid reflux.
Which is normal. Yeah. But I used to have severe acid reflux. It was 10 out of 10 pain scale. Like I thought sometimes I would have the nurses at the clinic hook me up to the EKG machine because I was sure I was having a heart attack. That's how bad it hurt. And it was just reflux. I used to take 2 Nexium every day. That's like taking 2 Prilosec every day, or 2 Zantac or 2 Pepcid every single day to control my heartburn. When I went keto, my heartburn got 80% better, which is, if anybody out there suffering from severe heartburn, you know just what a big deal that is.
It's inconvenient.
It's so annoying and it's painful. And it's painful, but also you have to, another thing, you have to clear your throat, you have to swallow, you have to stop mid-sentence and wait for whatever's going on here to calm down.
Yeah, and it feels like you can't swallow properly, like when you're trying to
Exactly,
eat
it feels like something stopped up here. And you can actually go back and watch my YouTube videos from 2.5 years ago when I was just really getting full bore keto, and you can see that I'm still having a little trouble with it. But on keto, my heartburn was 80% better. I might take a Tums once or twice a month on keto. And now with carnivore, I have 0 reflux pain, no heartburn pain at all. Haven't had it in a year or more. It's just gone. Which, if anybody out there, if you're suffering from severe reflux, you know that's kind of miraculous.
How long did it take you to see?
Well, with the keto, it kind of snuck up on me, right?
Because I wasn't doing it for that.
I was trying to lose weight, and I wasn't expecting it to help anything else. Back when I was first doing this, I was learning just like you're learning right now. And so one day it occurred to me, because I kept in my office cubby, I kept the Nexium right there.
And the apple cider vinegar.
And right beside the apple cider vinegar, yeah. And so I thought, I haven't taken a Nexium in a long time. That's weird. Wonder why. And it was keto. And so, none of my patients got Nexium samples. I kept them all because I needed them. But yeah, with keto, I could take a Tums every now and then, maybe once a week, and that's all I needed. And then with carnivore, no heartburn, no reflux whatsoever. Anybody else? Have you had that? Don't be shy now. Put it in the comments, because I'm not joking. Your comment could literally change somebody else's life, who they're looking at me like, I don't know if I believe him. Then they see your comment going, yep, it's true. That could be just the little push they need to give this a try. Now, where are we going next?
Let's see here. So we're going to move on to the stomach. I guess we can do nausea. A lot of people had
we could talk about nausea. We could talk about gastritis. We could talk about gastroparesis, and we could talk about ulcers.
And what about gut bacteria?
Exactly. That's right. Yeah. So ulcers in the stomach are caused by Helicobacter pylori, which is a bacteria, which is supposed to be in your gut, but it's supposed to be controlled by your diet, and also your stomach is not supposed to be inflamed every day, which helps the Helicobacter kind of bore in and cause the damage that it causes. And then also, if your insulin's chronically high, that's going to help it hurt your stomach as well. And so many people used to have chronic ulcers, and now with keto or carnivore, they don't have any ulcers. Their gastritis or their chronic stomach inflammation or irritation is just gone. And so they don't need the Prilosec or the Prevacid or the Nexium for their gastritis anymore. It's just gone. And what were the other ones you said?
What about diverticulitis?
We hadn't got there yet. That's further on down the trail.
Okay.
Yeah.
The nausea.
Yeah, the nausea. So many people have either a malabsorption or they have a sensitivity to foods. And it's almost always a plant food, because plants, they don't have fangs or claws to keep you from eating them. What they have is chemical toxins in them. And some people can eat plants and do just fine. Other people, the plant's chemical defenses really do a number on their guts. And the gut's by far the most common place where these symptoms manifest if you're allergic to a certain plant. And a lot of times, if the plant is irritating you anywhere from the mouth all the way to the other end, the symptom you'll feel is nausea. Just, I ate and now I'm nauseated. And that gets better when you start avoiding the plant foods that can lead to that nausea, can lead to that inflammation. Now, coming on down into the small intestine. Yes. So the small intestine is really a miraculous, magical thing. It does so many things. It would take us hours to tell you everything it does. But a very common thing is called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, right? And if you're eating the standard American crap, or you're still eating a high carbohydrate diet, even if it's paleo, even if it's something like that, you can still have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth called SIBO. But when you start eating the proper human diet, which is full of fatty meat and a little bit of veg, plus or minus the veg, the bacteria magically just go back to their proper balance. And all these small bowel symptoms just go away. And it seems kind of magical to the person who it's happening to, but it's not magical. It makes perfect sense. When you feed your gut and feed your bacteria the right food, the bacteria just come back to the normal ratios, because you're supposed to have thousands of different bacteria in you. That's normal. But what you're not supposed to have is an overgrowth of this particular one that causes gas, or this particular one that causes inflammation. And it just turns out, so it turns out that those bacteria that cause problems love carbs. And when you get rid of the carbs, they just tend to wither away. And they're still in there, but not in the same percentage. So maybe they went from a 70% percentage down to just 1%. There's still a few, but not enough to cause problems. But if you fall off the keto wagon and go back to eating the crap, 3 days later, maybe sometimes 1 day later, your symptoms are right back. And that's because the bacteria just multiply right back and take back over leadership like they used to have. Yeah. So we're coming on down the gut. Now let's talk about the gallbladder. That's part of the gastrointestinal system.
Yeah, and a lot of people have issues with their gallbladder, or think that they can't do this way of eating if they don't have a gallbladder.
Yep.
Is that true?
Not at all. You can absolutely do keto or carnivore if you don't have a gallbladder.
If you are doing keto right now without a gallbladder and having success,
Yes.
drop that in the comments, because that's very helpful to see other people.
It's a great time to comment your story, because there are thousands of people out there who have been told by their doctor or somebody, oh, you can't do keto because you don't have a gallbladder. It's total horse crap, but they believe it because their doctor or dietitian said that, or their mama or their best friend. You 100% can. And so if you're doing keto right now without a gallbladder, please put it in the comments. The incidence of gallstones is not caused by eating meat, which I've actually read on Twitter. Some people will say that. It's caused by not eating enough saturated fat. Your gallbladder stores and concentrates bile. Mm-hmm. That's what it does. And so if you're not eating enough fat for it to have to contract and squirt the bile out, the bile just keeps getting more and more concentrated. And when it gets concentrated enough, it forms gallstones. And then there you go. Now you got a gallstone. And many times when somebody is eating the crap diet and they transition to keto, they'll have a gallstone attack. It's not that keto caused the gallstone. It's just that keto, you're eating so much fat, you're causing your gallbladder to constrict, and it tries to push that stone out, and now you're stuck with a stone. And so, but for optimal gallbladder function and health, you've got to eat lots of fat. That's why it's there, is to break up the fat you eat. Why do we even have a gallbladder if you're supposed to eat a low-fat diet? That makes sense?
Mm-hmm. There's tons of comments.
Excellent.
And
yeah.
Like just so many people. Carnivore, ketovore, keto, without a gallbladder, safe and successful.
Now, if you haven't already shared this video, please share this wherever, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, because these comments are gold. When somebody who's having the same problems that this person used to have, all of a sudden they're like, wait, this guy fixed this. What? Huh. please share this video. It helps us to reach more people who don't know the magic of keto or carnivore. So we got the gallbladder taken care of. What about the pancreas? That's part of the GI system. When you're eating way too many carbohydrates, your pancreas has to work harder to put all that sugar places. And so you're going to have something called hyperinsulinemia. And hyperinsulinemia not only pushes the blood sugar, which is dangerous, out of your blood, but then also you have a buildup of too much insulin, which is going to lead to an increased risk of heart attack, stroke, and all kinds of other bad things. So you don't want to make your pancreas work too hard. And the way you give your pancreas a break is to eat low carb. Your pancreas, so you see, you've got a gallbladder full of bile. That's put there because it's anticipated by either evolution or the creator that you're going to eat a high-fat diet. That's why you have a gallbladder. Your pancreas can only deal with so much sugar in the blood, so much glucose. Again, you kind of get it that human beings are low-carb animals. We should eat a low-carb diet regardless of what style low-carb it is. We're supposed to eat a high-fat, low-carb diet. Our pancreas can't deal with too much glucose or fructose in the diet. Another hint that we should be low-carb regardless of what style of low-carb it is.
Pancreatitis.
Yeah. So it's very, very common to get fatty pancreas from eating too many carbohydrates. I've got a YouTube video about fatty pancreas. I heard Dr. Robert Sivas, a good friend of ours, talking about fatty pancreas the other day. It's a big deal. That is the point where you become a type 2 diabetic. But also when you've got fat in your pancreas, that's very inflammatory. And it can increase your risk greatly of developing pancreatitis, which I promise you is no fun whatsoever. It can actually be fatal. It's very, very serious. So don't make your pancreas mad by eating a high carbohydrate diet, because that's going to turn into, first of all, fatty liver. But then when the liver's stuffed completely full of fat, your body will start stuffing it in your pancreas. And that's not something you ever want to happen.
Okay, next.
Okay, so now we're down to the colon. And
this is where most people see their problem.
And so let's talk about irritable bowel syndrome, irritable bowel disease, ulcerative colitis, and Crohn's disease. Yeah. Right? Most people's doctor or healthcare provider will say, well, it's genetic or it's autoimmune or we don't know what's causing it. But there's a chink in their armor of knowledge that I know and she knows and you may know. But if you don't know, I'm about to tell you. Yeah, there is a component of autoimmunity. No doubt. There is probably a tiny component of genetics in there. No doubt. 1%, maybe 2%. But the 95% of the problem is caused by the foods you eat. And this is how we know this. There's probably 100,000 or more carnivores in the United States who eat only animal-based foods. They don't eat anything that comes from a plant. And much of the reason that many of these people are carnivores is because they used to have severe IBS or IBD. They used to have severe ulcerative colitis, or they used to have severe Crohn's disease. And they tried every diet in the world, nothing worked, and they finally read about this crazy carnivore diet. And they thought, well, what the hell? I mean, I've tried everything else. I'm dying here. People actually have colectomies, right? They have part of their bowels taken out due to ulcerative colitis and Crohn's, and sometimes irritable bowel. That's completely unnecessary. If you eliminate the foods that are irritating your colon, all your symptoms will go away, whether they're diarrhea predominant symptoms or constipation predominant symptoms. They just get better and go away by magic, as if by magic. Right. But it's not magic. Basically, you've removed the offending toxin, and your colon's actually able to heal and calm down, and then all your symptoms go away. So it's vital. And this is where the carnivore diet comes in. So if you went keto and lots of things are better, but you're still having IBS or IBD or UC or Crohn's symptoms, you need to try from 30 days to 90 days of a carnivore diet. And I promise you, you will not have been happier about anything in your life than the day you started the carnivore diet if you suffer from severe bowel symptoms.
I don't know if you had it as bad as me, but I had IBS to the point where if we were going on a trip that was longer than an hour, it was 100% going to be at some point me saying, you need to find an exit and you need to find it now because I gotta go. No matter what. And that hasn't happened to me
that's true.
in 3 years, but it was consistent all the time. If I was going on a road trip that was over an hour, I was going to have to get to a bathroom.
If we were in the middle of a restaurant, she'd be like, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
If we were in the middle of a play or a musical, she'd be like, gotta go.
Yeah, I mean, like,
remember
you
that?
can enjoy
What was it? Cat? No, not Cats.
Chicago.
Chicago. Yeah, she's like, gotta go.
In the middle of it, like, who wants to do that?
And she loves the musical Chicago, and had to literally get up and walk 3 miles, seemed like, to the bathroom, and miss probably her favorite part because of irritable bowel symptoms. And so, trust me on this. There's nothing bad about the carnivore diet. There's nothing harmful about the carnivore diet. If you feel great on keto on, okay? But if you're still having large intestine, colon symptoms, even on keto, it's time to give carnivore a try, I promise you. Now, in the morning, I'm going to post a new YouTube video about an unspoken cause of irritable bowel symptoms. And I'm going to give you a heads up since you're hanging out with us this evening. It's fructose intolerance. You ever heard of that? Because I'm a doctor with 20 years of clinical experience, and I've been doing this for about 3 years. And I had never heard of fructose intolerance. And I was doing some research and stumbled upon it, did some more research, and I'm like, this is a really big thing. About a third of adults have fructose intolerance or fructose malabsorption. You can say it either way. And so they're not able to absorb all the fructose in their small intestine. So it goes through to the large intestine, the colon. And when it gets there, the bacteria that live there normally, the bacteria are not the problem. It's the, it's the fructose. When the fructose gets there, those bacteria go ape crazy, eating the fructose, and they start putting off gas. So you get the bloating and the gas and the flatulence. They start causing inflammation and irritation. So you start getting the diarrhea or the constipation and the cramping and the pain in the belly. Does that sound familiar? And so here's why it's such a big deal. So many people with IBS or Crohn's or UC have been told by their doctor, the gastroenterologist, their dietitian, you need to eat a diet that's rich in fruits and vegetables. They always say fruits first, right? Because they know you'll eat fruits, but maybe you'll eat some vegetables too. But the problem is fruits are full of fruit sugar, which is fructose. And if you are one of the 33% of adults who has fructose malabsorption, then the more fruit you eat, the worse your irritable bowel symptoms are going to be. And that's why I think a lot of people just give up with IBS symptoms. They just say, screw it, give me the pills and give me the injections or take part of my colon out. Because, I mean, the healthiest diet in the world is a diet rich in fruits and vegetables, right? Duh, everybody knows that. And so even that didn't work for me. So I guess just chop out some of my colon or give me the infusion once a month, whatever you got to do, because I can't take these symptoms anymore. But they just don't know it's the fructose. It's the fruit. And even some vegetables are very high in fructose. And so if you're keto and you're still having IBS symptoms, watch that video. I'm going to post it about 8 a.m. in the morning. Watch that video and then try a carnivore trial. Do 1, 2, or 3 months of carnivore and see if your gut symptoms don't disappear.
What about hemorrhoids?
No, hemorrhoids. Let's talk about hemorrhoids and let's talk about diverticuli. Because I've actually had people tell me that they were told by their doctor they shouldn't do keto because they have diverticulosis. That's ridiculous. First of all, eating nuts and seeds does not cause diverticulitis. That's a big myth. Also, eating red meat has nothing to do with diverticulitis. How many of you been told that? Hit the frowny face button if you've been told that. Yeah, lots of people. So what causes diverticulitis is eating an inflammatory diet full of processed foods, so ground up grains, ground up sugars, seed oils. That's the entire cause. It's not from any other cause. It's not from red meat. It's not from hot dogs and bologna. It's from processed ground up food. It's more prevalent in people who are overweight, and it's more prevalent in people who smoke. Those are the things. So if you're overweight, keto or carnivore to fix that. If you smoke, Stop smoking, please. It's bad for you, including your colon. If you're eating lots of processed food, and now for most people, keto-friendly cakes, cookies, pies, that kind of stuff, bars, it's not nearly as bad. But there are few people who even the ground up processed nut flours will flare up their diverticulitis. And it's not because they're nuts, it's because it's highly processed and ground up to a fine powder. Okay, so if you're still having flare-ups of diverticulitis on keto, it's probably your keto treats and your keto baked goods and keto bread. That's probably what's still causing it. And now if you don't want to have diverticulitis, then stop eating those. If you would rather have an occasional bout and keep eating your keto bread, then that's your choice to make. You're grown. It's fine. Whatever you choose. But I would recommend you don't do that, because sometimes diverticulitis can become a life-threatening condition. You can have bleeding, and it can become very severe. So I would recommend you stop all the ground up nut flours.
What about polyps?
Oh wait, hemorrhoids. We didn't get to hemorrhoids.
You didn't answer that?
No, I didn't answer that. I think that was snarky.
Okay, hemorrhoids and polyps.
So hemorrhoids come usually from chronic straining and holding your breath while you're straining. That's what causes hemorrhoids. Now, is the inflammation already there that predisposes you to hemorrhoids, kind of like with varicose veins? Because it's really a varicose vein of your butthole. Yep, I said it. But straining probably makes it worse. And so if you hold your breath and strain when you're lifting, that could make you have hemorrhoid. But also if you have chronic constipation because you're not eating enough fat in your diet, you can develop a hemorrhoid from that. Once you've developed one, sometimes they'll spontaneously heal and go away once you're eating a better diet, but sometimes you have to have surgery. So best just not to develop them to start with. And then polyps. Polyps are 100% caused by inflammation inside the gut. Polyps are actually outpouchings into the lumen of the gut, whereas diverticuli are kind of pockets back in the wall. And so chronic inflammation, irritation at that spot, you start to make more and more epithelial cells. They keep mounting. So initially they look like a mound, and then they keep growing until they become this pedunculated polyp. And then your surgeon goes in there with a colonoscope and snips them off. But if you eat a non-inflammatory diet that's nice to your colon, you just won't have the polyps to start with. Polyps are not caused by genetics. They're not caused by your immune system. Genetics may play a 1% part, but the 95% cause is your diet. How about that?
Boom.
And yeah, we made it all the way out, didn't we? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now we're back out into the world. Free turds. When you come out, you're
yeah.
Okay,
we're going to take some questions
now. Now it's question time.
Drop your question.
If you've already asked it, type it in again so we can see it. Oh, thanks for the stars.
Oh, okay. That's not what I clicked on. Here we go. Lisa says, I have growth hormone deficiency. I can't take genotropin. It raises my A1C 9.2 and higher. I have Hashimoto's and have had a thyroidectomy. Can keto carnivore help my GHD? And my A1C is 5.9 currently.
Yes. So 5.9, first of all, that's not a normal A1C. That's still too high. And so here's what keto or carnivore is going to do for you. If I were you, I would do carnivore, because you want to have as low carb a diet as possible. Because what that's going to help you do is get that A1C down to 5.2 or 5.1. Then guess what you're going to get to take? The injections. And then it might raise your A1C back up to 5.4 or 5.5. But because you're eating such a low carb, almost zero carb diet, you're going to be able to take the injection that's going to make you feel so much better. And it's going to help you in so many ways. But right now, if you take it, it's just going to skyrocket your blood sugar and your A1C because you're eating too many carbohydrates. So if I were you, I would go ketovore or carnivore. And then after a month or two of that, go see your doctor, let him check your A1C, and your doc will be like, dang, that's good. What have you been doing? And you can say carnivore, and they'll say, well, that's dangerous. Don't do that. And then say, doc, shut up and give me my injection so that I can feel better.
Christy says, I have a nodule on my duodenum. and I have a hiatal hernia and loaded with stomach ulcers. I stay the same weight no matter what I eat or what I don't. However, I have never tried carnivore. What can help with the ulcers, the hiatal hernia, and the duodenum nodule?
Yeah.
Or the duodenum if you're from West Tennessee.
That's right. So the nodule you may be stuck with, and your doc definitely needs to watch that and monitor it, however they're doing that. But everything is, so the nodule is going to stop growing with a carnivore diet, and the other two symptoms are going to go completely away. So just get ready for that. Yeah, carnivores, that's going to make you so happy to do that diet. You're going to have all these benefits plus a ton of other benefits.
Cole says, the doctor told my dad that he needs high fiber diet with diverticulitis. Is that true? He is scared to do carnivore.
Yeah, so a high fiber diet is actually quite irritating to the colon. This is why people who eat a high fiber diet poop all the time. So just imagine we're trying to calm the colon down and give it a break. And so the way you're going to do that is to eat Poop Like a Champion cereal that's high fiber. No, that's going to make your colon work harder. That's going to be very irritating to the inner lining of the colon. That's going to cause worse diverticulosis and more flare-ups of diverticulitis. I would 100% recommend your dad do no fiber, a carnivore diet with plenty of fat. And it may be you may have a challenge talking him into doing it because you're his kid. But if you could get a friend or a neighbor or his brother or sister to talk him into it, I promise you the diverticulitis will cease to be an issue.
Where is Sweet Beckett? Can you do keto some days and carnivore some days during the week? Thank you. Ooh. You can totally switch it up. That's totally fine.
Yeah. And Nisha, for quite a while, she would do Monday through Friday carnivore. And then she would party on the weekend with keto. Yeah. Right? But she would get crazy on the weekend with vegetables.
The longer I do meat-based and then I reintroduce veggies in, I see a lot of negative effects. So I get stomach issues, gas, bloating. It seems like I don't feel as good. And so the longer I do carnivore, the more I don't really want the veggies. Now, I still integrate spices, sauces, onions, garlic, that type of thing. But I tried cauliflower rice, and although it was very delicious, it was too delicious. I ate too much of it, and then I had issues for like 2 days.
Yeah, she was disappearing again in the middle of stuff. She's like, be right back.
And cauliflower is fine for a lot of people to eat. That doesn't mean you have to stop eating cauliflower.
That's right.
But for me, it seems that cauliflower and I just don't agree.
And remember, we said earlier, she used to literally have to get up and leave events that she was just couldn't wait to attend. Why would she want that part of her life to come back again? Why would you? And so immediately when she got that feedback from her colon, oh, you got to go to the bathroom right now. Yeah. Are you going to poop the chair? That's immediate feedback from your body. Your body going, honey, no, leave that alone.
And I just feel like that is positive reinforcement, not negative reinforcement, because it's like, why would I do that again? Yeah. I know how it affects me. Yeah. And so my body is pushing me in the carnivore direction without me having to force it upon myself. Because it's just that instant feedback that I got from my own body for me that was like, no, honey, no.
And that's kind of the same thing that happened when you were cycling between carnivore and keto, because after a weekend of keto, Mondays usually were not a good gut day for you. And it's like, and you remember when you used to drink and party on the weekend, then Monday morning you're like, oh my God, why did I do that? That means that was bad for you. You shouldn't have done that. Same thing for her. When Monday morning started becoming like, oh my God, why did I do that? She just kind of naturally progressed into carnivore.
Yeah, so I'm even more carnivore than I was. When I first started doing our What I Eat in a Day vlogs, I was still using a little bit of veggies. I went to Cheesecake Factory with Morgan and her little fiance, and I had Brussels sprouts. And that day I had bowel issues too. It was like, why do I keep doing that to myself? Onions and garlic don't seem to do that to me. You have to be careful though, because a lot of people are very sensitive to onions and garlic. So you have to pay attention to what is appropriate to your gastrointestinal issues, what's going to affect you, because what works for me doesn't work for him, and all that good stuff. Like, we know this. Yep. You have to self-experiment, do the elimination, find out what you're going to be able to intake and not. And
now that may sound like woo-woo to you right now. If you're eating just a standard American diet right now, you're like, I feel like crap every day. I can't tell if I eat broccoli or don't eat broccoli. I can't tell any difference. Yeah, you're not going to be able to. You're like an alcoholic drinking 5/5 of vodka a day. And so then if you drink, 1 shot less vodka, would you feel, you're still going to feel like crap. But when you've gotten to it where you've been eating keto for a few months or carnivore for a few months, you actually get immediate feedback from your body. It's the coolest thing ever. Your body will let you know immediately within 24 to 48 hours, should you have eaten that or not. And a lot of people feel like, well, that's so negative. Now I've got all this list of things I can't eat. That's not the right way to look at it. Go ahead.
It's looking at it as, oh my gosh, I know what I shouldn't eat now, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna feel amazing for it.
Yeah, I get to not poop my pants every day. That's kind of cool, right? I get to trust a fart, and I'll be like, I don't know if I should. Oh, I better leave the room to do that, because you never know. So why? Yeah, it's so restrictive that you don't poop your pants. No, it's not. It's so restrictive that you don't have to have severe abdominal cramps every day. No, it's not. Once you've been keto or carnivore for a while, you get immediate feedback. Your body talks to you. It's the coolest thing.
Jim says, damn, those Brussels sprouts taste so good,
Yes.
yet make you feel so bad. I know, it's good going down, but then later you're like,
yeah. And it's funny how it affects different people differently, because for me, it's the upper half of the GI tract. So if I go too crazy with the veggies, I'll start to get a little heartburn, and I'll start to get some bloating, and I'll start to get gastritis. But for Nisha, it's the other end where it affects her at, because it didn't affect me that way.
well, the veggies, they do. Like when I eat the Brussels sprouts, it's here.
I
start to feel it first here, and then I get the bloating and the yucky, and then later it's like.
People don't know, but for a doctor, this, can you see that, or this, those are the international signs for reflux pain. This face and pointing here, that's reflux or heart attack. And then this is always reflux, heartburn, or a heart attack. So yeah, it's a little medical trivia.
Oh.
Grab it.
Okay. Eddie, hey Eddie, I've been a carnivore and I was keto before this. I'm on no meds anymore, but the problem I'm having is if I go number 1, I can't stop the number 2 liquid coming at the same time. I have no gallbladder. I love carnivore, but I'm very confused. I'm here in Canada.
So this is why I caution people, if at all possible, keep your gallbladder. It is there for many reasons. Okay. So if you don't have a gallbladder and you're trying to eat very large, high-fat carnivore meals, you may have some diarrhea. That could happen. And it's not because carnivore is the problem. It's because your anatomy has been permanently deranged. A surgeon who thought they knew what they were doing, they mutilated your gastrointestinal tract. You need your gallbladder for many things. So it's not your fault, but now it is your problem. What I would recommend is that you get some ox bile supplement. You can get that from Amazon or from Puritan.com.
You have a video about it, don't you?
I don't think I do.
You have a gallbladder, keto and gallbladder?
Yeah, that's true. A gallbladder.
I think you mentioned that in the comments.
Yeah, and you definitely can use that. And most people, after they've been keto or carnivore for a while, the diarrhea stops. Now, if the ox bile supplement doesn't stop the diarrhea, then stop blaming it on carnivore. It's time to go see your doctor for chronic diarrhea. Okay, because sometimes there's a medical reason, not just a dietary or a nutrition reason.
David says, my daughter's doctor tells her diet has nothing to do with fistulizing Crohn's disease, and they have her on Humira. Oh my gosh, $3,200 a month. What can I do to get her off this dangerous drug?
Watch my carnivore diet videos. And if she's on board, don't make her, but have her watch who are some good stories. Michaela Peterson, Amber O'Hearn,
Kelly
Hogan. These are all women who had severe colon problems
or autoimmune problems
and have completely reversed them, put them in remission by eating a carnivore diet. I want you to check back with us in 30, 60, or 90 days and give us an update on how she's doing if she decides to do this, because I predict that her symptoms are going to get so much better that she's going to tell the doctor very politely and respectfully what he can do with the Humira.
Humira, man. Yeah. It's expensive and it's hard on the body. It's awful. And
it's a pain in the butt to get the...
Oh my gosh. All All right, Monty. Hey, Monty. Hello, Dr. Berry. In February, I had my blood work done. My A1C was 7.5, and my total cholesterol was 200. My triglycerides were 206, and then I started doing keto carnivore, taking no extra sugars, very low carbs. Just had my blood work done again. A1C dropped to 6.1, but my cholesterol dropped to 230, and my triglycerides went to 500 while on medication. I was on a statin. I'm at a loss. What should I do?
Yeah, with that A1C and that level of triglycerides, there is no doubt that you're eating too many carbs. Now, you may very well have improved your diet, and you may very well be eating many keto foods. But here's the thing about keto. You can't say, well, I'm going to eat bacon and eggs for breakfast, and then, well, you know, for lunch, I'm going to eat tuna salad and an avocado. But, I mean, I'm eating so good, I'm going to have a piece of strawberry cheesecake. You can't do that. And I'm not saying you're eating dessert, but whatever you're doing, you're eating too many carbohydrates for your personal physiology. You've got to cut the carbohydrates. It may be keto shakes and snacks and bars and treats and baked keto goods. You got to stop all that stuff. That stuff is for people to make money with. That's not for your health. If you want to get your A1C down to normal and your triglycerides down to normal, you gotta lower the carbohydrates more than you have currently. So if I were you, I would download Chronometer. It's an app you can have on your phone. And for a week, I would track every single thing I ate and put it in Chronometer. Then you can see how many total carbs. Don't count net carbs, count total carbs. And I think at the end of each day, you're going to look at your app and say, damn it, I did not know I was eating that many carbs. That's why your triglycerides are high, and that's why your A1C is high. I don't care how high your total cholesterol is, or even your LDL cholesterol, because they are not risk factors for heart attack and stroke. But having high triglycerides and having a high A1C, those are huge risk factors for heart attack and stroke. And the way you fix those is to lower the carbohydrates even more.
Marcia says, do probiotics really work to restore gut bacteria? I've tried a few kinds and they don't really seem to help.
Yeah.
With the probiotics?
So I've kind of changed. I have changed my tune about probiotics, and I'm happy to admit when I'm wrong. I've done that many times in my life. When I first started this YouTube journey, I was very positive probiotics for everything.
Took them every day.
Took them every day. And the more I've really read the research and the meaningful research and really looked into this, it's almost impossible to change your gut bacteria by taking a probiotic. There's only now very few instances where I recommend that you take a probiotic. The most common one being if you have taken a round of antibiotics, you might benefit from taking a good quality, very expensive probiotic for a month. But just for taking them to try to adjust your gut bacteria, that never works. I'm sorry in my earlier videos that I recommended that. It's foolishness. It's much more complicated than that. I just said that I was foolish.
You've said that several times.
Yeah, but who? What other doctor have you ever heard say that they were foolish earlier in life? It's so much more complicated than that. You're just not going to adjust your gut bacteria, your colon bacteria, by taking a probiotic. It's just not going to happen.
I have a hair that is just tickling the fire out of my nose. So if I'm scratching my nose a lot, there's a problem. It's really annoying. Oh, it probably is. But, you know, here I am doing it.
You got a bat in the cave?
Oh, yeah.
No, you're good.
Oh, somebody said, what do you guys eat? If you watch my YouTube channel, which is linked in the description on Facebook or the show notes on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, every week, I show what I eat, I show what he eats, I show what my parents who are new to keto eat, and I show what Beckett eats. He's a baby. He'll be 10 months old this week. And he also eats ketovore. And here he is right now.
Speaking of baby Beckett.
Hello, sweetie.
Hi, baby. Come here. Say hi to everybody.
This is Beckett Berry. If you guys didn't know, we have a little baby.
He's about to be 10 months old.
Yeah, and he is.
Can you say hi?
He's breastfed, but then he also eats. He eats a lot of eggs. He eats chicken. He eats steak, lamb, beef. You want your tractor?
He's a green tractor kind of guy, not a red tractor kind of guy.
Oh, but
We
have a blue tractor, so.
Yeah, I actually have a blue one, so I'm just messing with you. Here's your tractor. So yeah, and I think that's really helpful for people to be like, yeah, I get a keto carnivore, but I don't know what that means. What do you actually eat? On her YouTube channel, just go to YouTube and type in Nisha Loves It. Her channel will pop up, and once a week she posts what we eat a day.
And I do grocery hauls too, so you can see what we buy from the store.
Baby. No, he wants your makeup. That's his favorite thing in the world.
No, he's got a toy.
Okay, I'm just going to get this for backup.
Don't know. That is no.
Okay, fine.
Uh-oh.
Oh, now what are you going to do?
I got a tractor still.
Okay. You want your tractor? Ooh.
What do you think about food sensitivity tests?
Yeah.
It depends. There are different levels of quality of food sensitivity tests. The cheaper ones and the ones that are usually checked don't help a bit. A lot of people out there are saying, oh, we can check your DNA and we can tell you what diet is best for you. That's complete rubbish. Don't waste your money on that, because they're going to wind up saying, oh, you need to eat whole grain breads and lots of fruit and veg. That's bollocks. That's what Beckett just said. Yeah, it's not true at all. And for the cheap food sensitivity test, they're going to tell you all kinds of things that you're sensitive to. And many people find them useful. Most people, once they've been keto or carnivore for a while, they don't need a test. They can tell you. They know the list because their body's giving them feedback that they shouldn't eat that.
Look at that.
Baby.
I just actually today, and I'm vlogging my whole process. I went to have my Hashimoto's labs drawn today, and I also had the Dinwiddie food sensitivity test done. So I'll be going over those results, and I don't know how I feel about that yet. We'll see.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. We'll do video. So that's going to be on my YouTube channel also. But I think that at this point, I can pretty much tell what I'm sensitive to. Do I know everything? No, obviously not. So I think it'll be interesting to see what it says. My nurse practitioner that I went to, she was like, what if it says you're sensitive to beef? And I was like, well, I don't know. We'll see. I said, I'll cross that bridge when I get there. I said, but honestly, I eat more chicken than I eat beef. So maybe that's my body's way of naturally telling me that I do better on chicken. I don't know how I feel about all that.
Yeah.
But we're going to do some videos on it and talk about it and go over my lab results as well.
So cantankerous.
Tractor.
Come to me.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
Oh.
Excuse me. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
Sheila says, I'm following up. Thanks. I talked to my doctor about immunosuppressants, stumped them with what's the worst that can happen, and now I'm on my way off of them, hopefully, for good. Good
Excellent.
for you, Sheila.
Excellent.
Thanks for the super chat.
Most doctors are prescribers. Very few doctors are prescribers, which means they want to start you on medicine, but they're very reluctant to stop medicines. I don't know why this is. They should be happy when you've improved your health enough to be able to stop a medication, but many doctors are reluctant. And that's just what we told this other listener. Ask your doctor, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen if I stop taking this medicine? So, like, for example, many doctors, after they put you on Nexium, Prilosec, Pepcid, if you say, I want to stop taking that, they're like, oh, no, let me refill that for you. Say, what's the worst thing that can happen if I stop taking it? And they're going to say, well, I mean, you might have some heartburn. You'd be like, yeah, duh. If I have heartburn, I'll start taking it again. So I'm going to try to stop taking that. So try to convince your doctor to be a prescriber, not a prescriber.
Jennifer wants to know, how did you get your baby to eat keto carnivore? We introduced foods to him, and he ate them. It wasn't difficult.
People think that babies only love ground up fruit. Babies love meat. The very first solid food he ever ate, we were eating ribs. Mm-hmm. And I had cleaned a rib up pretty good, still some little tiny pieces of meat, and I just handed it to him. And Nisha's like, oh, what are you doing?
I did not.
Somebody did. I don't know. He took that and he took one bite and his face lit up, didn't it? He was like, what is this crap? What is this madness? And ever since then, every meat that we've given him, he's just like, yes, give me the meat. Give me the eggs. At first he didn't love eggs, but now
Yeah, but then I gave them to him plain, and then after that I put butter and cream and cheese in them, and he
And
likes
salt,
them
yeah.
a lot like that.
now he freaking loves them. But babies don't need ground up pulverized fruit. They don't need that. That's way too high in fructose and sugars and carbs. Give your babies meat. Give your babies eggs. Cook those eggs in butter. Use salt. Salt is not bad for your baby. I had a lady on Instagram reach out today and say, my doctor said not to give my baby any salt. Babies are human beings. They also need salt. Not they like salt. They need salt for optimal health. Had to get rid of that baby? Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Are we wrapping up? Is that it? 7:56. Yeah. Okay, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, for sharing this video. Please share this. If you've got an uncle or an aunt or a brother or a sister who's got any gut trouble, share this video with them. You literally could change their life, maybe even save it. What else?
Again, deadline for the PhD Virtual Online Summit, September 1st. You can find all information, speakers, everything like that, $37, phdvirtualsummit.com. The link is in the description and in the show notes. Your t-shirts are being sent out every single day, so they'll be on their way. It is included in the price of your ticket. You can watch the live stream, and then you can watch it for a year after, as many times as you want.
For $37.
$37.
Wow.
Subscribe to our YouTube channels. We put out content every week, and we love doing this for you guys. And your support means so much to us. Having all that feedback is super encouraging that we are doing something right and that we are helping people. And that's basically all we ever wanted as a doctor and a nurse.
That's literally our dream, was to help people be healthier and be happier and feel better. That's all we ever wanted to do. And now we get to do that on a daily basis. And we thank you so much for being with us on this journey, on this crusade. And thank you for the stars and the super chats. And thank you to our Facebook subscribers and our patrons on patreon.com. You guys are part of the Keto Carnivore family, and we love you just like family.
The support, whether it's from Patreon or Facebook or just liking something, commenting something, sharing something, subscribing something, we appreciate all of it equally. It all helps us. It all helps us reach more people every single day.
Yep.
Because that's our goal here.
That's what we're here for. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. If you are a Facebook subscriber or a patron on patreon.com, don't forget that tomorrow night, Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard, we'll be live in the private Facebook group that's just for you guys. Okay? All right, guys. That's it. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.